Hey everyone, welcome back to Bo Beanie Creates. My name is Jeannie, and I'm about to try something that's really pretty brave for me, and I was hoping you guys would come along and give me some moral support while I do this. My book is falling apart, and actually I've got several books that are falling apart, you can see. And so at first I was going to look into having them spiral bound, and I thought, that's a decent solution, but because I have quite a few that are, coming apart, I thought, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and just invest in the Happy Planner Classic Hole Punch with the little mushroom holes you're probably familiar with. So we're going to try that. We're going to take this book apart. I've got that hole punch. I've got my Fiskars paper cutter. If that doesn't work, I've got a metal ruler and a couple of X-Acto knives. So I think we're okay. And I've got a cup of coffee here to help me out in this little journey. So let's get started and see what we can do. I watched some videos. You probably remember. Let's just see if these come out like this. Well, I probably couldn't get that. I probably couldn't get that lucky, could I? I was watching a video by J.I. Colorist and watched hers and one, I think her name's Colorful Life or something like that. I'm going to stand up here. And just to kind of get an idea of how they did these. And I am a little nervous, I'm not going to lie, but I'm just so tired of working in those books and having them not work properly, not having them flip the way I want them to flip, and I feel like they're just gonna. Oh, you know what? Goodness sakes! Oh boy, you guys. This is a chore. Okay. You know what? I think the whole spine just needs to come apart. I know, I'm making you nervous. I'm making myself nervous too, but I'm just over it at this point. What's the problem here is that glue right there. Oh man, I don't know. I don't know, guys. This is just not good. Let's try a scissors. Let's try a scissors. Okay, cover is off. It's not pretty, but it's off. I kind of made a little ding here, but today I'm not stressing about things. I'm just gonna get stuff done. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna, tear each one of these out like this, and see how far I get with that. Isn't it funny how, they're all falling apart, but when push comes to shove, they're that's kind of not all that easy to take apart. So, all right. This is really not a problem. It was just the cover, but I understand that's going to be on there a little more solid than everything else. And I know I'm making a lot of people cringe, and I'm making myself cringe too. I never thought I'd do this, but it just needed help. All right. Yeah, these are coming out nice. But I definitely see the pros in doing this, aside from that it's falling apart. I watching J.I. Colorist and she does a wonderful video on, you know, kind of a little bit of what she uses, why she does it, how she does it, and the look of it bound with the discs. I didn't show you the discs, did I? They're going to be bound with, you know, the Happy Planner discs, right? So, but what one of the benefits that, you know, she was saying is that you can get right up to the edge. Some of these books, there's you go right to the picture goes right inside the seam, and it's so frustrating to try to color those. And so we'll see how it goes. I'm going to try it with this one. I've got, like I said, several other books that are falling apart as well, so they'll be up next. But I'm getting my feet wet with this one, and yeah. So we're going to do this, and then we're going to see how we like it. And then the other ones that are in need of attention, that are falling apart, I'll do those as well. But I had to start somewhere, and I know this isn't pretty, but I had to start somewhere. And okay, oops, let's see here. You know what? Excuse me. Okay. And then I'll decide, you know, what I want to do with other books. I don't feel at this point too inclined just to go taking apart all my books, because I really do, you know, I like my books. So I don't know that I'll be doing that, but the ones that need attention, that are falling apart, yeah, I think this is going to be a worthwhile little venture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my paper trimmer here, and I'm going to trim off the edges here. Let me open that up. Trim off the edges. Trying to kind of save as much, you know, cover as I can, but there's definitely a fold there with glue and whatnot that needs trimming. So we'll get that trimmed. And I realize there's better paper cutters out there. This is what I have, so this is what I'm using. Okay, so we'll do that. And that is the front cover. And then I want to match up the back cover with it. Where in the heck did the back cover go? Oh, there it is. Okay. So I'll trim that to fit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim all these pages as well. And then I'll meet you back. I'm not going to make you watch all of that. So I'll be back. Okay, I'm back, and I trimmed off all the edges with my Fiskars trimmer. In other words, I trimmed the inside closest to the spine is what I trimmed. And so I got all those trimmed. I trimmed the front cover, and then I used that front cover as my guide so that they'd be all the same size. Then what I did is I wanted to practice and see, you know, what this looked like when I punched it, and I think that's pretty perfect. Now, the tutorial that I watched was with I think it's called My Colorful Life, and she did a great job. I'd definitely recommend watching that. I chose to do mine a little different than she did. She used, if you can see the Happy Planner punch, she used this edge line here as where to put her line her paper up. What I did instead is I put this in here, and I measured an even distance from either side, and I put a piece of washi tape there as my guide, so that she had to go back in and punch an additional hole, and with me centering it, I don't have to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, use this as a guide. This one's a flip out, so I'm gonna go ahead and take that out because I'm a little nervous about catching the edge of it in here. So we'll go ahead and we'll punch that. and looks pretty good. And you are gonna you're gonna lose a little bit, of course, when you of your picture when you do this, but you know what? I don't think it's any worse than losing a piece of your picture to the inside of the spine that you can't reach anyway. So I'm not too concerned about it. So once again, I'll continue to go ahead and finish all of these, and then I'll meet you back here in a minute. But this is super easy so far, so good. And I'll see you in a minute. Okay, welcome back, everyone. So that worked really well. Everything punched super simply, including the cover. I didn't have any trouble, even though this is, you know, thicker cardstock. And so now we're ready to go ahead and assemble it. I chose the smallest discs, and that was, and I learned that from J.I. Colorist. And what she did is she had said that you want to get the size that fits the, you know, if you turn your book this way, the one that encompasses the whole thing. And this is the smallest size that they have. So that's what we're working with here. So not done this before, so this is gonna be new. And so we're just gonna slip these in. Kind of flimsy right now, but I think that gets better as you assemble it. And these are the plastic discs. They also, of course, have the metal ones that are more expensive. We are starting out. I thought this matched kind of that rose gold with the rose gold of the book, you know. All right, guys. So that's that. And then we just go through and we put it together. You know, one at a time. I know I'm not the smoothest at this. I imagine if you've done this before, it's gonna go a lot smoother than I'm making it look, but so far so good. I'm really excited. I really am, and I can see the benefit of being able to take your book apart when you're working on a page, like especially right now if I want to use acrylic paint or something like that, I've got to use washi tape to mask off the closest, the adjacent page, and I don't have to do that with this. I can just pull my page out, so I'm excited about that. And you know, so it does eat into, you know, your picture a little bit in the instance of this book, but once again, I really feel like I was having trouble getting to the center of my pages anyway, so I'm really okay with that. And my pages were falling out, so what else was I gonna do, you know? Okay, so I'm gonna continue with this, and I'll come back when I'm all done and show you what it looks like. Okay, I'm back, and here is the finished product. I realize my book's a little dirty. I'll have to clean that up. But as you're putting the rings in, it definitely gets easier as you go along because the rings are being held in place by, you know, the bulk of the pages. So yeah, it gets easier and easier as you go through it. But I'm pleased, you guys. I really, really am. I just feel like this is going to be nice, you know. I can just pull out the page, you know, pretty simply if I want to. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to hit the camera, but you can kind of pull it out and work on it, and then just put it back in. And I think that's going to make working with paints and things that much easier. And I'm happy. Thank you, J.I. Colorist. Thank you, My Colorful Life, for the help on getting started. I'm sure I would have been brave enough to do it had I not been convinced of some of the reasons just to go for it. And you know, I kind of also felt like this is my book, and it's for me to use and for me to feel comfortable with, and whatever works for you. This in this case has worked for me, and I'm glad that I dove in. And I'll also say if you are going to go ahead and take your book apart, just know it's probably not gonna be pretty, you know, at first. It's a little unnerving, admittedly so, but I feel like it's well worth it. So I hope you enjoyed this. I did want to show you one more time the product. So the Happy Planner Punch, and the one that I got was this one, Happy Planner Classic Paper Punch. And this is the one with the 9 holes, and it, even though this is a large book, it worked perfectly, and even it did a great job in punching the thicker cardstock, and just really no problems. I use the smaller discs. At least I think they're the smallest discs. If there were smaller, that might be a little better, but I think I did the right one here. So anyway, I think they're called the mini if you're looking. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. And if I can answer any questions, just leave them down in the description below. And I will see you on the next video. Take care, everybody.